Holy Grail. Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin, has a lot going on. Look at all these minis. Hello there, I'm Tabletop Toby, and today we have a big box to go through. This is Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin, and I got back from a trip and it was waiting for me. In fact, you may have been wondering where I've been. I have moved. I have new digs, as you may tell. It's still kind of a work in progress and some other life changes and things going on, but all good stuff. So I'm going to get back into it with a bang. Let's do this unboxing. And my knife, Paxton the Penguin, my official safety officer, has authorized me to use this and is observing my technique to see if I am doing it properly. So I think you're going to have like an unboxing and then an unboxing within the unboxing because there's a lot of stuff in here. Very excited about this one. It's a bit of a narrative adventure, but then with some card play, diplomacy, and battles as you encounter different events, creatures, people. If I can do this in a way, I had to really back the camera up to see if we can show you what's in here without blocking your view. Okay. Oh my gosh, so many things, all the things. All right, we'll start out with one of the mini expansions. We'll take a closer look at all of this here in a bit. This is an upgradable campsite. I think it was kind of a little mini expansion that existed. We have a little letter to us. It's a really nice, heartfelt thank you, which is pretty cool. Just to show appreciation to the community. All right, so looks like we have card protection, it says. Pretty obvious what's in here, but we'll open it here in a bit anyway. The Deluxe Exploration Journal. So a fancified story book as you go through and your choices and things you encounter and the narrative. We have upgraded resources as we go through, fancified bits for your immersive pleasure. Wyrd Encounters, so these are models of the creatures you encounter as you go along. A playmat. And last but not least, hopefully I don't break my back pulling this one out. This is the extremely massive and very heavy main box. So it looks like we have plenty to go through. I could barely fit this in the camera, so maybe we can zoom in a little bit so you can see a little better. All right, and I think the best place to start with unboxing a game is maybe unboxing the actual game itself. There's all the other fun stuff that we can throw in and mix in that's fancified, but let's see what's in the main box to start with. Okay, it's a process. I think it's worth noting that the box is very good quality, and this art looks better than it did in the pictures in the campaign. Some punch boards. Take a closer look at these. Looks like these are the steamy versions of the creatures you encounter that I believe the Wyrd Encounters miniatures box replaces. Tracker dials. The rule book. What they are calling open and play guide, so kind of a tutorial intro scenario to walk you through and kind of get you started in the game more quickly. secret envelope. What's in here? Well, we don't know, and we're not going to find out today. No, we're not. Narrative thing or a map, maybe? Status sheets, save sheets. It's like an empty journal where we can take notes from our adventures. Lost chapter status sheet. I think these are kind of maybe bonus adventures you can go on with your characters. Into the Mist status sheet. I think this is similar. Except these are bonus quests where you unlock secret cards for each of the characters. Exploration journal. Just lovely, lovely inserts to keep everything organized, which is very much appreciated, especially in a big game like this. Kinds of tracker cubes. Character boards. A secret message decoder. So there's messages and things that you can see in the exploration journal, I believe, as you go along, but only if you have this puppy, which I think you earn through a quest. Some dice, some time tracker tokens, some other kind of tokens, and a plethora of minis that we will take a much closer look at. Looks like you have maybe the main versions of the characters, the weird forms of the characters. These are the markers as you go through the world. It looks like these are maybe companions of some sort. There's another organizer in here. This is kind of the base one, so I'm gonna leave it in there. Looks like we have the Kings of Ruin, the titular Kings of Ruin, so definitely gonna be looking at these. They look very cool. Just has random tentacles coming out everywhere. Yeah, definitely going to give you a close-up of these. Here's another one. Pretty amazing. And I'll just tilt this up here. We have cards, and lots more cards. So we're going to pause here and go to the top side and give you all a closer look of some of the stuff in the main box. All right, and with such beautiful detailed miniatures, that is where we're going to start inside this main box. This is the first of the 4 characters, Elgin. See, he has his candle burning. Even the base has detail around there. Next we have Gurdwin with a decked out shield and a crossbow. And we have Iunis, I-U-N-I-S, cross, dual wielding, kind of samurai aspects to the costuming, but then maybe a little South American as well. Very kind of interesting blend of styles. This is Osbert, the dwarf type character. Kind of a stave of sorts. And then we have the weird form versions of the same characters. So there's the weirdness when you're a certain distance from the Waystones that you enter, or maybe you can enter it by choice if you want. I'm not quite sure. This is Elgin again, and decked out now with, looks like some kind of lamp with smoke or something coming out. Different kind of weapon there. These candles on top. Gurdwin, who is now a, I guess, snaky, lizardy, crawly thing. Still has, instead of the shield, some spears coming out separately there. Still wielding a crossbow. Long hair now instead of the short hair. Iunis again also has longer hair, so the weirdness must have exceptional hair growth there. Kind of a seashell that has corally growth on it instead of dual wielding one long spear. Osbert again. He still has some kind of staff or something there. It seems the least changed, I guess, out of the four for the weird form. Beard is kind of in a more angular style. This is the Waystone, which I cannot remember what they were called when I was doing the main unboxing there. These kind of light the way, and anything that's not within a certain distance of them goes into weirdness. There's 3 of these, so I think you use resources or something to place them and keep them up. These next 4 are companions. They were part of the stretch goals in the campaign. So don't really know a ton about these yet. And then these next 3 are the Kings of Ruin, and these are really the showpieces of the main box. They are very big compared to the character miniatures I just showed you. These are the Kings of Ruin. They have to be big to ruin things. That's how they work. But they are really cool and detailed. All of these crazy tentacles and the bone kind of wings. Just fantastic work on these miniatures. Awaken Realms. King of Ruin number 2. Kind of helper lackeys at its feet and swooping. I don't know if that's fabric of the outfit or what's going on there. Detail in the back cloak and the headpiece. Last King of Ruin. This one once again is compared to the regular characters. Large sword and the scully face, another cool headpiece with wings. It's got some shoulder pads going back to the 80s there. Horses. Just look at the detail in the carriage there and the wheels. Really, really cool miniatures. Other than that, for game pieces, we have the decoder piece that shows things in the exploration journal. It's kind of cool. It's a skeleton wrapped around it. Dice, looks like directional, 10-sided and 6-sided numeric. These are the light time trackers and the dark time trackers. These are some type of golden scroll. Looks like those are quest markers. These are health trackers that go on the boards. And speaking of, this is Elgin's board. Looks like maybe the health marker also shows where your energy is capped. There's energy, health, and terror, empathy, caution, spirituality. There's for cubes for food, wealth, experience, and magic. Aggression, courage, practicality on the left there. It's like there's asymmetric abilities here. Make a weird candle. So he's carrying the candle around. So pay 1 food to gain weird candle consumable items as long as they are available. Then shuffle the consumables deck. If you're the weird, so this like looks like they maybe all have their issues, their baggage they are carrying with them, which we all have in our lives. Fear of the weird. Whenever you resolve energy, I'm not sure what that symbol is. Effect, lightning effect, in this kind of location, whatever that means, gain 1 terror. So not a good thing, I'm guessing. Here is Wyrd ones. So it looks like those items on the sides are all the same, as well as the trackers down here, but with different abilities. Hunt, which makes sense because the crossbow, challenge a combat in your own connected location, gained looks like 2 cubes at the start of the encounter. And then overloaded. After you travel, if you have less than 2 energy, lose 1 health. Travel is difficult for Gordwin. Eunice here, and I will just point out the art here is beautiful. The art both on the models and both from the encounter book that I've seen and on the playboards is really great. Just the color and the way they do the contrasting to highlight that is really fantastic. So Eunice has Terrifying Feast. And whenever that happens, Eunice pays 2 health once per day. Outcasts, at the end of the day, if you're in location with, which looks like it's maybe if you're in a city, so maybe the outcast doesn't want to be near other people as much. Osbert, which I think I'm going to have to play with Osbert. I love his kind of the alcoholic nose, I guess you call it, and just the weird staff. And I don't know, I really am digging the kind of gestury vibe that's going on there. So handcraft, gain 1 of the following consumable items: smoke bomb, snare, fire, then shuffle the consumables deck once per day. So you get to gain little items. I mean, Osbert's a little crafter. Paranoia, when you rest, if there is a whatever that is, or King of Ruin at your location or a connected one, gain 1 energy less. So can't rest, a little paranoid, so not as efficient the next day. Okay, and then we have some punch boards. So this is the combat pool tracker. And then we have all of the guardians. Just take a closer look at these. It's kind of the corruption-y, wispy, smoky vibe, just the corruption of creatures we know but that look kind of different. And these continue on this next board. And then there are also these, look like they have the characters' names. They look like different abilities you can maybe earn over time. Give you different effects, which I always appreciate, either a skill tree or get different skills, so it kind of changes the gameplay as you go along. And then here's the third punch board. It looks like some of these are the companions, like this is the wacky either gadgety guy or a sorcerer. It looks more like a sorcerer in here. These are more of those skills that looks like you unlock over time. The exploration journal, which is massive. And we have the deluxe one as well. This is the one that comes in the box. So this has, as you explore the land, you discover different things. So it's here, you know, the kind of typical triggering bit where if you have certain things or statuses, you kind of go to different chapters. and you work your way through the story and then have different encounters or gain items or lose items. There's some beautiful art to go in there, and there's lots to discover in here, as you can see. The stretch goal exploration journal. So this says that it contains 2 additional standalone lost chapters, a roguelite into the Mist mode and Places from Beyond mini expansion, as well as models for the 4 companions you will meet during your main adventure. And here it says, please keep in mind that both lost chapters are built upon the King of Ruins core rules. You can play them before or after the core box campaign, but if you have no previous experience, we recommend starting with just the main story. It notes that Into the Mist is a solo roguelite adventure in which you tackle increasingly difficult combat and diplomacy encounters, and then finally the King's Ruin themselves. So this is kind of a different, I don't know if it's maybe a non-narrative kind of mode where you're just doing the battles, which is kind of interesting. Maybe after you do the story and you want to kind of just challenge yourself with the encounters. And a similar setup to the main encounter book. So these sheets are for the Echoes of Ruin expansion, and if you complete different tasks, you unlock secret cards, which I think give you different abilities. So those abilities are secret, so we're not going to dive into these too much, but when an encounter, go to memory, have a companion secret card, this, or this. Go to Osbert's memory 2, so you get to reveal these items. And it looks like there's ones for each of the characters. Little individual quests you can do to unlock different things. We have the secret envelope. We still can't open it. Just a stretch goal bonus journal that I guess you can use for your personal life or just enjoy the art or take notes from the game. Some cool drawings mixed in there from the universe. And a bunch of stat sheets. These look like they're for those extra items. And then kind of some stat sheets, save sheets for the main game. And then we have cards. So many cards. So it looks like creatures you come across. We're just going to breeze through those so we don't ruin the surprise too much. Although we'll just take a look at this one, Bishop of the Deep. And don't know what any of this is. Guess we'll find out. And it does say diplomatic encounter on these, so, and then combat encounter on some of them. Icon glossary, so we can learn what some of those things were on the abilities that we looked at earlier. Okay, so weirdness, that was the one. So the one is afraid of weirdness. Settlement, yeah, we figured that the one outcast was afraid of being around other people. So love an icon guide. Here's enemy traits, another one that just gives you quick access to that information. And these are the locations that you lay out as you explore. So there's the main location, and they can all have weirdness. I believe when there's not a waystone close enough to them, then they turn into weirdness. And this is interesting. I don't remember this from the campaign. Places from Beyond overview. So it says it's an optional expansion for this game. It includes locations that appeared in the previous Tainted Grail campaigns, but are now returned twisted by the weirdness. Each one offers some kind of action and a fragment of lore. 29 one-sided Places from Beyond location cards. So it says we strongly suggest waiting until you complete Chapter 1 before throwing this into the mix. It's a bunch of locations. These are all just one-sided though, so these all say they're secret, so I am not going to spoil these too much. Oh no, there's some secrets. And there's a bunch of different kinds of items. Consumable items, E items, D items. Looks like maybe you unlock these over time. randomly go through some of these. So Lucky Charm, reroll a die. Tattered Banner during diplomacy, flip this card to whatever the icon thing tells us that is. Witch's Bile, during combat, discard this card to gain 2 cubes. So just all kinds of different items to discover in the world. Stylus and Tabula during diplomacy. Flip this card and discard 1 card from your hand to ignore the enemy response. So just give you some tools to use. Heal potion, that looks like. Ooh. So we will spoil no more than those. Combat cards. So these have Elgins. These are character cards, Gurdwin, that you probably start with and earn as you go through to engage in combat in different ways. I know there's a game of matching that you play with the combat and diplomacy encounters. So we shall learn more as we start playing. These are encounter cards, so there's different color encounter cards. Purple, green. These have different creatures and things that you encounter. So just to give you a flavor. So this says this is the top of the open and play deck. Do not shuffle this deck. And that goes with this, which is the open and play guide. So it's kind of a tutorial guide to bring you into the game a little bit more smoothly. So these have kind of starting combat cards, diplomacy cards, and your first encounters, it says. Deck of cards just related to the expansion, so lost chapters, and then the missed challenges, so content galore. And a lot of this game is cards, so they just kind of keep going. I don't think I'm going to dive into more than what we've already seen, but here's diplomacy cards, more encounter cards, more encounter cards. It's like these are some Claudines, maybe these are so secret, so secret things you can run across. So chapters, so these are maybe, looks like events. I love seeing this on the deck. You are going insane. So I wonder if there's different events you do when you reach that insanity point we saw in the character tracker. And then I think the next place we want to go are these weird encounter minis. This is nice. It has a cheat sheet to remind you where each of the figures goes, with a bonus touch of a picture of underneath the tray of what that looks like. So completely frivolous, but that makes me laugh. I think it's very funny. A whole host of fun and adventure in here. So these are all of the creatures that we saw as standees in the main box. So this is a totally optional version of minis of those, and these are just as detailed and magnificent as the ones in the main box. So we go from the small, looks like beggar child, to the much more massive, kind of a standard warrior, kind of angry, spiky, wormy plant. It's like fisherman. Fish on the spear there. Crab type creature. It's weird. It looks like a bunch of hands over faces maybe in there. Just look at the detailing along the back of the dress there, and the, I don't know what that is, creepy baby doll carriage. Larger minis, it's almost looks just like a tree, but it has the vibe of a creature at the same time, which is kind of cool. And there is the secret face. It's not that secret, I just think I had it turned the wrong way. Very cool design though. The fact that it kind of looks like a tree, and then there he is. Like a demonic goat creature with an axe. I would be very frightened if I ran into this in the woods. Knight with flowing banner. It's like a headless knight, and the way it fits in the box, I think it is meant to be headless. It is not that it lost its head in transit to me, but once again, just some specific ones, really, just the detail. So cool. The plant tentacle creature. Cthulhu-y. About to jump warrior. I think that's the official term. I am not sure. This is what's from the cover of the box for the Wyrd Encounter minis. And the design is so bizarre and interesting. Just the lamps and what's going on there, and the weird veil thing. Definitely feels like weird. Like W-Y-R-D, weird, I guess. In this case. So it looks like almost like a pet tentacle thing with the knight tentacle spear thing, but then you see the tentacles kind of coming out, it's creeping out. It's interesting. I don't remember getting a Cthulhu vibe from it before, and I'm sure I looked at some of the art, but it really feels prevalent in some of these minis when you see the cool detailed tentacles. Kind of a standing Cerberus kind of bear vibe. Definitely feels like a hodgepodge of things thrown together there. Ooh, I remember seeing the art for this one. It's like a witch from the cauldron as a spider. I just really, really love this. A not quite sure bird skeleton. A double shielded spear wielding kind of armored. This maybe it's more of a hammer. Hammer spear? Is that a thing? A hammer spear? And last but not least, this snaky tentacle mermaid. That's the best description I can come up with. And we have that little camp mini. Looks like it includes some extra cards to upgrade your campsite. A little instruction manual for it. So it looks like you start out and you can add on to it. It's kind of modular, I think, as you upgrade your campsite with the cards. So this is the Deluxe Exploration Journal, and it is huge, so I'm very intrigued to see how it differs specifically from the one that comes in the main box. Wow. It's quite beautiful. You see it has a very beautiful cover. It's somehow even thicker than the main Exploration Journal. And I think the main difference is there's a lot of extra art and flavor text mixed in, is my understanding / memory. Oh, yeah, look at this. Definitely extra art in this one. That's really beautiful. Here you see some of the hidden text that you have to use the decoder ring, so to speak. Yeah, so that's the magic of this version, is it has extra art throughout to add to more of the atmosphere of the game. This is really beautiful. Necessary? No, but it is beautiful. We have the upgraded resources. Also a nice organizational tray for these. And we have bread and reputation markers, spell books maybe, banners of some sort, the time tracker token. So we'll get these a little closer right now. So we have the full loaves of bread, the half loaves of bread, we have the bigger coins, and we have the little baby wealth trackers. These are the magic markers, and then the little baby magic markers. You have the reputation markers, and then little baby reputation markers. Experience markers that are book tomes, and then little baby experience markers, which are just one page from the tome. And that is the upgraded resources. We have the playmat. Kind of a sucker for a good playmat, especially when it involves placing cards like this game does. It's just a little bit easier to pick up, which is nice. Right in here you have the thematic art matching that on the box, and places for your exploration. As you go around, you uncover different areas and some placeholders maybe for different items and things. And this one's going to be riveting. Card protection. And indeed it is card protection. Big, small, and in between. Holy Grail. Tainted Grail, Kings of Ruin, has a lot going on. Look at all these minis. Now this is the super deluxeified edition. There is just the standard box with standees, although you still get miniatures for all of the main characters. The art on the standees is great. So The rest of this is superfluous, but also with the standard box, you do get the Kings of Ruin, which are probably the best miniatures I have seen in a long time. They are glorious, they are big, they are detailed. And since I have done the unboxing, I have done the tutorial and another scenario, kind of the first section after that, I guess I would say, and I am digging it so far. It has a lot of story to it, a lot of flavor and world building. There are choices you have to make that have felt consequential so far. Whether that's an illusion or not, I guess it doesn't matter, because as long as you feel like it matters, then that's a game, right? That they want to give you that experience of making you feel like you're having that effect on the world. At least this kind of game does, not all games. But it's doing an effective job of that so far. The characters feel like they play differently with their abilities, which is great. The diplomatic encounters and the combat encounters are slightly different, so I'm looking forward to diving into this more. But you have seen everything that there is to see for Tainted Grail Kings of Ruin. So thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe if you appreciate this content. I like doing unboxings because I like watching unboxings, so I can evaluate whether I am interested in buying a game or not. And I think sometimes for me, components are important. Seeing those components gives me an idea of how the game might play and the feeling it's going to give me. So I want to share that with you all. So if you appreciate it, please like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much for being here again. And just remember, the only rule is that there are no rules except in board games.